I know y'all were waiting for this. I know for a damn fact that a lot of y'all have been waiting on me to talk about Eden Zero, chapter 258, which is also, by the way, the start of volume 30. And I will talk about that here soon because when starting off a new volume is always a good feeling. It's always a great feeling to have. And given with where Eden Zero's at, actually, let me go back and check because I do want to actually calculate something just to make sure I have everything up and running before we, properly dive into the discussion. But yeah, no. First off, I just want to ask, how's everyone doing today? Like, I don't think I ever bring that up a lot, and you know, I hope everyone's doing well out there. I mean, with where I live, it's currently a Tuesday, so I know I just got off from work, just having fun, just chilling. And here's the thing: is every time it's a Tuesday, I know Evening Zero drops, and 100-year Quest is something I've been meaning to tackle again. Like the last time I talked about this was with that podcast I did with Blue, like a while back. And there's been a lot of content that's happened with 100-year Quest since then. But who knows? Like whenever we get the opportunity, I know for sure I'll tackle a podcast with them and discuss my current thoughts on Fairy Tale 100 Quest because it's been interesting. It's been really, really interesting. And then, of course, given the fact that it's also a new month or in October, right? So Deadrock should be around the corner. I don't know when it's popping up, but I'd just be on the lookout for that because Deadrock popping in can mean a lot of things. But we're not here for Deadrock. We're not here for Fairy Tale 100 Quest. We are here for Eden Zero Chapter 258. Which, by the way, got this nice, beautiful cover page of Hermit with Squirrel, Sandy Cheeks over here, and just Hermit doing some, digital stuff. Tech savvy, if you will. But let's keep going. Let's keep going. The title of the chapter is called The Shape of a Planet. Interesting chapter title, I should say. But we start off like really like right off the gate with dragons, like blowing through the defenses. You have Shiki, Rebecca, Laguna, Clean, Jin, Valkyrie still taking on Brigadine, which Valkyrie's like putting in feet. I love it. Like it was great to see, her hold her own against Brigadine, but also Brigadine is no fool. Let's make it clear here. Brigadine ain't no fool. Like you see what Brigadine brings to the table, and it's like, okay, like shit gets real. I will say that because he goes in for the attack, and she's like, okay, this guy's tough. Then you see her talking to Hamura, and she's like, yes, teacher, I got a situation. I need you to beat Acnoella for me. So we got so we're pretty much getting a battle between Hamura and Acnoella. At least that's what we're getting set up here, which I think, in all intents and purposes, I think this is actually really, really cool that we're getting this. But you got Acnoella like staring down at Hamura, and she's like, I understood, teacher. And after that, like we cut away from the Eden Zero, like just getting bombarded by like all these dragons, shields being down, and then you just see Witch, and she's like, "And you are?" And Wizard says, "Wizard." He's like, "I'm Wizard, the upgraded version of you." And she asks, like, "So how'd you get on the ship?" What's teleportation magic? Huh? Magic that you are not capable of using. And like, dude, Wizard? I ain't gonna lie here. Man goes all in. Like he ain't playing games with Wizard. Or not with Wizard. He ain't playing games with Witch. He like we having this beat down right here, right now. Like you see like his barrage of attacks going through. And like you really see like not exactly how much of a disadvantage Witch is at, but more so like the blow he made. That's what she said. But you know what I mean. Yeah, the attacks are going through, but Witch isn't going down without a fight. And she asks, "So why are you here?" "I told you I'm here to destroy you. Or rather to sink the Eden Zero." And right then and there, at this moment, we get probably one of the coolest transformations. Like, here's the thing. Anytime Overdrive gets a form, right, let me be fair. Anytime we get like a new Overdrive form for like one of the characters, like it's always like amazing. Started with Shiki. Like Shiki to me will still always be iconic. Like that initial Overdrive transformation was like, whoa, holy shit! And but this is like the Overdrives for the Shining Stars. Like we had Hamora's, and Hamora's was like badass as fuck. Like I loved Hermit's. Let's say Hamora. I meant to say Hermit. When we got Hermit's Overdrive form, like that was amazing. And if y'all remember the week that chapter came out, when you had the tease of Hermit's Overdrive, like people were like, "Yo, holy shit, she a hottie, she a hot." Like that is the discussion people had, and I will say this right now: Witch is looking beautiful, without a doubt. She is looking like beautiful in her Overdrive form, and she says, "This ship will never sink, not as long as the Shield of Edens is here to defend it." And Wizard's like, "What? Overdrive?" And just like that, deals with him like it's nothing. Like she deals with him like it's nothing, and it's telling. It's honestly really telling when you see the damage that's being dealt with. But even so, Wizard ain't going down without a fight, and he says, "I'm one of the four Dark Stars, the Spear of Edens. The spear exists to shatter the shield." And Witch just thinks to herself, like, then he is one of the Demon King's four dark stars, which means it's close. And within the field of debris, we see the one and only, the Eden's one. Like, it is here. We haven't seen Void yet, though. Like, that's one thing I do want to clarify is that, like, we see the Eden's one, we do not see Void, interestingly enough. But we do see the ship, and Rebecca's like, "Shiki, look." He's like, "The Eden's won." And Jin's like, "So it did follow us out here." Queen says, but the dragons, it's hard enough slaying them. What do we do?" And then Shiki doing the one thing we all know and love of Shiki to do. And that is simply put, "I'm going to settle this. I'm not going to let them get in our way again." So, something we need to keep in mind here. Shiki's going straight in for the assault. Like he's boarding the like it's as he's saying right here. He charges right through the ship, and he says, "I'm boarding the Eden's one." And this is going to be kind of important because he's going there right now to confront Void. Now the question is Shiki going to come up on top? And I'm going to say this: I don't think so. I don't think Shiki is gonna come off on top like right off the gate. I don't think so. But then again, we are in volume 30, which by itself already is like a huge milestone to take into account with Eden Zero. Again, like I said, I'll delve more into this later, but it's like it's like again, like right here, right now, like that. It kind of makes me wonder what exactly Void has in mind. Like, I really do have to wonder about that because I'm pretty sure like Void is aware that Shiki's coming through. So the question is, what exactly is going to happen with this confrontation? You know, but no. Um, Going back over, we see the dragon still, lowering the shields, and then you got Weiss saying, "What do we do? You want me to break down the door?" And she's like, "No, this is our ship." And she's like, "I'll try rewriting the system from here." And right as that happens, we get the one and only Killer. Killer is in the house, and he says, "You're wasting your time." To which Y says, "Killer, I'm the upgraded version of you. You'll never beat me at anything related to programming." I mean, given the fact that we had the Lindard arc and like Killer was on some insane shit during the Lindard arc. Like, let's not forget what this man did to Herman. Like, it was like I wouldn't say traumatizing, but it was definitely something where you were like, dude, what exactly is going on here? Like, this is nuts. That is exactly what happened when it came down to the events of Eden Zero during the Linder arc. So, kind of makes you wonder. But Herman notices this, and then Killer says, "For one thing, you haven't even noticed, have you?" And yo, like when I saw this page, I was like, dude, what in the world? Like, how exactly? Like, we know they're gonna overcome it, but the thing I want to figure out is how, because he says the Eden Zero is going to self destruct in just 10 minutes. You know what the crazy thing would be is now I will say this: I don't think the Eden Zero is gonna get like destroyed. I don't personally. I don't see it, but on the off chance it does get destroyed, I mean, we better find a crash landing like it's the freaking Pillar of Autumn from Halo. Like, do y'all remember in Halo, like the very first mission, when the whole objective was to get Cortana off the ship, and like Captain Keyes like went down with the ship and landed straight for Halo? I wonder if we're gonna get the same thing here. I wonder. Like, okay, if I'm to play a percentage game on this, let's say 70, no, not even 70. I will say 65% chance that the Eden Zero comes out unscathed. But unbeknownst of, the whole self-destruct sequence. And a 35% chance that the ship does actually, you know, in a sense, self-destructs. I'm gonna give it the benefit of saying, nah, it's not gonna happen. But just on that off chance it does, then I mean, look, here's the thing: when the Eden's one is here, you notice like some real tension starts kicking in. So I kind of wonder. Anyway, Weiss is like, what? And Herbert's like, the Eden Zero is a self destruct. It has no self destruct program. You're lying. And Killer's like, it's my creation. And very similarly to Volume 20, was it 20? No. Similarly to the end of Volume 23. With the last chapter, that was the closing of Volume 29. We ended off with the 20,000 years ago. This time, like the first one, I want to say was like all focused on like where each of the Dark Stars were. Like, we see where Witch was, we see where Ivory was, we see where Valkyrie was, and then we also get to see where Hermit was too. And then I want to say the second one was more so centered on Brigadine and Valkyrie. So this one, chapter 258, I mean, we still get a little bit of context here, where in 256, it's stated that the planet was dying 20,000 years in the past, okay? And in 257, the way the way 257 ended was simply one thing, that Leonard was the fiance of regret. Keep this in mind. Now we have this chapter, and this one is more strictly focused on Hermit, actually, because we go back 20,000 years ago, and she's like, "This is the end of our planet, but I'm not ready to give up just yet." And then we see Killer here, like old school. He's like Neo-chan, and interestingly enough, she calls him senpai. So, knowing the Japanese phrase, usually when you say senpai, it usually means like, you know, older, right? So this automatically confirms that yeah, Killer is indeed older than Hermit. And we see, you know, they're both tech geeks. And she's like, "Remember when we talked about the theory that all things can overdrive?" And he's like, "Yeah, but that's all it is, a theory." And everyone's like, "No, I believe it's true. And maybe that theory is the key to saving the planet. We'll make the planet overdrive." And that's actually how the chapter ends, which, man, like, Hero, you can't keep doing this to me every week. Again, last time I felt like shit like this. I mean, look, Eden Zero is always good when it comes to cliffhangers, but god damn, like, when we had the stuff of 20,000 years in the future, like, that shit, like, rocked my world, okay? Like, when we were cutting back to that, I was like, "Oh, shit." Like, now we're getting things that happened that was, you know, briefly teased in chapter 4 of, like, 20,000 years in the future. And now we're getting 20,000 years in the past, which I do wanna say this right now. Early on, I wanna say volume 3, which I know I mentioned that last week. Hero did say, and I'm gonna keep bringing this up, he already had the story threads of Eden Zero planned out. Pretty much like say like bullet points of like where the story was gonna go. But the road to getting to each plot point was something he didn't exactly have planned out. And he described it as a way of saying that it was like a blend between Rave and Fairy Tale, where with Rave he had everything mapped out. And with Fairy Tale, outside of like say backstories, he didn't really have a whole lot of stuff planned out for like character backstories. Like outside of that, he didn't really have a lot planned for Fairy Tale, which you can kind of tell based on the writing. But even still, like it's I still think it's impressive how much Hero was able to connect, even though he wasn't planning stuff. I mean, yeah, there were still elements in Fairy Tale where you're like, okay, obviously that wasn't planned, and I think you could tell. But Eden Zero, again, takes the approach of Rave, where he has the story beats of Eden Zero. He knows the beginning, he knows the middle, he knows the end. But I'm gonna regurgitate on this. It's the thread. Like, how does it all tie together? That's the thing he didn't have planned. It's like, how do you go from point A to point B? And that's the experience with Eden Zero that he thinks is going to give it like that fun, like weekly approach. It's like, okay, I know the story, I know how it starts, I know how it ends, and I know the events that are going to occur. But how you get to each event is where he went like, okay, this is going to be interesting to see where he is. And honestly speaking, Hiro Mashima as a mangaka, I think is like one of the most fascinating mangakas we have on the planet. Which it's gonna throw some people off. Like, whoa, Lucky, we really putting Hiro on that high of a pedestal again. I'm gonna say this right now. I grew up with Hiro, like since Rave. Ever since Rave, like I've known how Hero's writing style is. And granted, when I read Fairy Tale, that was like before I realized it was written by the same guy. But the thing we need to keep in mind about his writing style is this: it's always, I wouldn't say different. No, I wouldn't say it's the same. But the way he approaches each of his series, I think, is fascinating because again, with Rave, he had everything planned. Fairy Tale, not much. And Eden Zero, I already explained it. Had the story beats, but just connecting the dots where he thinks is going to be the, absolute fun and challenging part about it. And I think it's really cool, which I honestly speaking, I do have to wonder about Dead Rock. Because with what we know about Dead Rock, is that Dead Rock is going to be a short series. From what we know, it's supposed to be a short series. And I know there's been a lot of talk behind what Hero said about the story of Dead Rock potentially getting extended because of like ideas he's had. And I will go ahead and say this. I think for sure, in my opinion, all attention should be focused on Eden Zero because what I explained earlier in the stream was that we are on volume 30, okay? Which is crazy to think about because when exactly did Eden Zero start again, guys? 2018? I want to say 2018. Let's look back. Eden Zero's, yeah, it started in 2018. So it's only been 5 years, which is nuts. Because like I was thinking back to this, I'm like, dude, I remember when the series first started. Obviously, I didn't start talking about it until like chapter 16. But the truth of the matter is, I had so much going on at the time. It wasn't that I didn't want to tackle Eden Zero right off the gate because I did. I was like, dude, this is cool. I can't wait to talk about it. But it was one of those things that just fell on the back burner. And then when I caught up, I was like, all right, we're talking about this. And obviously, look, uh, for sure, throughout my run of covering Eden Zero, I haven't exactly been the most consistent of like covering all the chapters from a week to week basis. Obviously, I will admit to that. But the thing is that if I do fall behind, you know for sure I am always willing to play catch up and just have a fun discussion stream. That's just how I've always been. No matter how many chapters I'm behind on, whether it's 2, 3, 10, like I'm always willing, to push the pedal. Say, let's do this right here, right now. And I mean, here's the thing. It also just comes from this place of like, dealing with life. You know? Like sometimes life just catches up on you and you're like, "Ah, man, it's like, I want to tackle this. But there's like other stuff that goes on and you're stuck between like, all right, what priorities kick in? And it's kind of with what's been happening with the channel recently too. I will do an update video on what's going to be coming. There are going to be a couple changes that happens here and there. I don't want to delve so much into that. But what I will say is, starting next week, I'll be free from work for at least a good week. So next week, hopefully, is going to be like my week of catch up. So the One Piece live stream discussion for sure next week is coming, and I'm going to be super excited to talk about One Piece again. Um, I know for sure. Definitely, I will say this: the discussion videos. Like I haven't done a discussion video since the VV being the next Straw Hat member. I've still got a lot of ideas that I have planned for the channel, and yeah, no, next week again will be like my week of catch ups on what I have going on, and then we'll just roll from there. I still got to do Chainsaw Man too, because woo, latest stuff there has been nuts, but that's neither here nor there. Overall rating on this chapter, I mean, look, I will say this. This is only just the start of Volume 30. Okay? And I have seen some people discussing about, like, well, hold on. Do you think this is going to be the final volume of Eden Zero? I don't think so. I don't think this is exactly going to be the final volume. I do think for sure, 100%, 2024 is going to be the last year of Eden Zero. I'm If I were to put my cash like in a casino, if I were to bet, I would bet for sure that the manga's ending next year. Like, whether we like it or not, Eden Zero, I think, is going to be over as far as the manga goes. The manga is going to be done in 2024. And I want to bring this up because it's going to be one of those things where it's like, only 6 years? Really? Like, we're not even going to do a 10-year run? Like Fairy Tale? Okay, Fairy Tale lasted, what, like 11 years? And to be fair, like I said, there wasn't exactly a plan for Fairy Tale, which, when you look at, like, how long its length was, it was like, oh, alright. But I do wanna address this. Rave Master. When did that start? Rave Master started in 1999, okay? And it ended in 2005. That's 6 years. That was a 6-year run, which is really saying something, because when you look at when Fairy Tale started, Fairy Tale, that started in 2006. So keep this in mind. You look at Rave Master, it started July 6th, 1999, and it ended July 27th, 2005. So that is like literally, yeah, no, that is like at the very least, yeah, a little bit past the 6 year. It still hit the 6 year anniversary mark. But if I want to really bring that into consideration with Rave, not with Rave Master, with Eden Zero, let's look at where we are at currently. Where is he? Okay, Eden Zero's right over here. So let's look at Eden Zero real quick. So if Eden Zero started in, oh no, we started June. Okay, so if we started June 2018, in my opinion, if I'm gonna estimate that right now, I would say for sure, at the very least by summertime next year, we're gonna be done. Whether it's June, whether it's, I'll say this, between May and July, and I'm only pushing the extension up until July, but I believe for sure that by summertime next year, the manga's finished. And when you really look at it, like all the pieces are almost in place. Like you already have the confrontation between Brigadine and Valkyrie taking place. You have the confrontation between Wizard and Witch. Now you're also having the confrontation between Hermit and Killer. The only person that's still left is Clown. Like Clown's the only one left. Clown and Ivory. And what I think is gonna happen, I think this is gonna be a case where most likely they do escape. But I think 100% the ship's gonna take a blow. I think for sure, like the crew is gonna take a hit. Now, whether or not somebody dies, that's up to debate. But given with what Valkyrie said about like maybe it's just history like trying to course correct itself. With what her speech was to Hamura. I mean, that could be a case that happens here. Who really knows? But the thing we need to understand here is this: we're still not done yet with the 20,000 years ago uh backstory, and we're just slowly getting everything. Plus, Shiki's origin, like Ziggy obviously knew where Shiki came from, but he didn't want to reveal it, which is fascinating actually. And and that to me, see, that right there automatically tells me we still got more left. Like, yeah, we have these confrontations taking place, but we're not done. Like, we're far from over when it comes to Eden Zero. Again, volume 30, right? And if we're looking at where Rave Master was, 35 volumes, right? Now, if you look at the chapter number, Rave Master ended at 296. Right now, Eden Zero currently is on 258. So we're getting close. I do want to say that we are definitely close to the milestone that is going to be the Rave Master benchmark. And if we remember one thing Hero said, now granted, opinions could change, that's for sure. But the thing is, it wasn't going to be as long as Fairy Tail. We all knew that. But the thing Hero also said is that it could potentially be, not even potentially, he did say he could see it being longer than Rave. And if we look at the volumes right now, so 28 just came out, when was it? September? So we had September for 28. 27 came out in July. I'm looking at Japan. In Japan, it came out on July for volume 27. And then volume 26 came out April in Japan. So if we're looking at it like that, and if we're pinpointing this, 29 is probably going to drop in November, which, now that I think about it, that's actually kind of crazy because that same month, we're getting 25. Like 25 drops early November, which I am like super, super excited to grab my hand on that volume. Like that's been like one of my most anticipated volumes, probably since volume 23, without a doubt. That's been like my most anticipated since that volume. But yeah, I will say for sure 29, like 29 is going to be the last volume that we get this year, like release wise. Now, as far as final complete volume goes, 30 is going to be the last complete. I have no doubt about that. Because if we look at where we're at currently, Like we're still just starting off volume 30, and we just got chapter 258. And looking at the chapter count, let's see here, 248 was where we ended off 28, and 257 is where we end off 29. So 266, estimation wise, will probably be where volume 30 ends. And then 31 will probably end off with chapter 275, give or take. And then, wait, let me think about it real quick. Yeah, 32 will end off with 283. 33 will end off with 292. And then probably 34? Wait, hold on. Sorry, mental math here. When I'm mental mathing it, it takes a bit, but let me see here. So 29 obviously ends off with 257. Volume 30 is going to end off with 266. Okay? Now 31 will end off with 275. 32, 283. 33 is 292. And that's close. I will say that if we end up like that would be close to the same range, if you will, for even zero. And if you look at if we're looking at it chapter wise, let me think quick. So 9 chapters of volume, right? So this year for sure, like volume 30 won't release this year, definitely, but it's gonna end this year. So yeah, because I think for sure we should cover up to 266 probably by what, November? Let me think. There's what, 9 chapters, right? 9 chapters per volume. Let me just turn off my Discord real quick before I get any more sounds. But let me see real quick. So if I'm looking at this, okay, so that's October. I'm looking at November. Okay, so looking at that, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so end of November definitely will be the end of volume 30. When I mean by end of November, I mean like November 28th. That should be when we get chapter 266. And then starting December 5th is when we're going to be at the very least beginning of volume 31. Volume 31. I think we'd be only like what, 4 chapters in? Yeah, we'd only just be 4 chapters in by the end of the year. So 4 chapters, and then when you hit January, let me think here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so by the end of January, the last week, that's going to be when we get probably the end of volume 32. Yeah, no, definitely. That's going to be the end of volume 32. So, given that, and again, looking at a potential volume 33, let's see here. So you got the 6th, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So yeah, probably by April, that should be what, 33? April will be 33, and then you get 1, 2, 3. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Wow. Actually, no, now that I think about it, yeah, you could actually, if Hero wants to time this right. I mean, who knows? if he wants to, he could go the extra stretch and just give, you know, the like if we really want to hit the nose here on Eden Zero, like as far as like final chapter goes, could you imagine it ending on the same day as when the manga started? Because like look at the dates. Let me think here. June 27th, right? So it wouldn't end on the exact same day. It end closer though, because again, if we look back on the dates here, because right now this volume still just started, right? So let me think here. So by the end of October, we'd be like have like at least at the halfway point of volume 30, and then by November, yeah, end of November we'd be like volume 30 would be finished, and by the end of December we'd be like close to the halfway point of volume 31, but definitely by January, without a doubt. Well, actually, wait, no, hold on. There's also the break too, so I can't forget about the break. So take the break out. February. February will probably be February 6th, give or take. That's gonna be volume 32, where that one ends. And then you go 3. Wait, let me see real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, so still around April, you would hit the end of volume 33. And then, yeah, so, yeah, I would still say if Hero wants to end it like around the 6 year anniversary, that's still possible. I think that's still very well possible. And it wouldn't be out of the question either because, again, there's still a lot. Like, it's not like we get to Mother and like that's the end all be all because there's still a mystery behind whatever just happened. And again, we're still just getting little inklings of the story. Okay, we're only just now still getting the history behind the four shining stars, and this is when they were still human. So we don't know the answers to that yet. Plus, like I said, Shiki's origins is still like a big mystery. Like, what planet did he come from? Who were his parents? And and then again, the final most important question is who exactly is mother? Not exactly who, but her significance. Like, we know she's dying, and the Universe Zero is the only spot where they can save her. We know this. But what outcome is going to occur when they get there? It's another thing. And plus, I've been talking about this for a while, but Zhao Mei, in some way, shape, or form, I believe definitely is more than likely the future daughter of Shiki and Rebecca. And I bring this up for one specific reason. Like, do y'all remember Rave Master? I bring that up a lot, but remember when Hero did those like volume extras and you would get Levin? Like, for a while, people were like, yo, who is this? Like, who is Levin related to? And why is he talking to Nojima? Like, what's his significance? And then, eventually we got the reveal that, okay, his parents were Haru and Ellie. And I thought that was actually a really clever thing of Hero going like, yeah, I have this little side story off in the corner, but when we eventually get to the story, it's like, oh, those were his parents. It's interesting. So, because why else would you have the narrator? I feel, and the fact that she's talking specifically about Shiki and Rebecca, more so Shiki. for sure. But like, and again, I will save this whole Zhao Mei theory discussion for like a separate video. But if you look at the way how Hero has framed a few things with Zhao Mei, and you correlate that to say Shiki and Rebecca, like I'm like, there has to be more, right? Like it just seems coincidental that the way how she's presented is very similar to those two in particular. It has to be. And I mean, considering that she's also the one that kind of shifts the course for Shiki, like she's the Oracle of Time, right? So I don't know. It's honestly really fascinating. But with that being said, you guys, I think that's it when it comes to this live stream discussion on Eden Zero Chapter 258. Overall rating for the chapter, I'm gonna go ahead and give it an amazing plus. And the only reason why I'm saying amazing plus, not pure perfection, is that I wanted more. Like, I'm like, Hero, this is great. I love the content. Please give us more. General nitpick aside. Also, Icebox, hey, how's it going? No, as I always say, better late than never. It's always great, you know, to at least catch a stream. Like even like say it's like probably like far later past the point of discussion of the stream. I think it's still always great to like come in and check out. But I hope you've been having a great day. I really do, and I really appreciate all the comments I get and your discussions. Every time you leave a reply, it is fascinating. And the same thing goes out to Anime Koala too. But yeah, no. Which I'm gonna be curious to know what your thoughts are. Gonna be for this chapter. You know, whenever it does pop up. But with that being said, like I'm gonna end it off right here because I do have some things I gotta take care of. Unfortunately, because life and yeah. So with that being said, you guys, that's pretty much all I gotta say when it comes to this live stream discussion of Eden Zero Chapter 258, the start of Volume 30, and I am Lucky7. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more Eden Zero content, and I will catch you guys next time. Peace.